All right. Hello, my name is Warren, and my friend asked me to answer questions about dating from Christian women. Uh, these are like frequently asked questions about dating, and I didn't want to text her my answers, so I was like, "Can I just do a video?" And she said, "Yeah, just keep it short." So I'm gonna try and do 30 questions and 30 answers in 15 minutes. So I'm gonna start the clock here and really try to hold myself to that, to respect your time and her time and all that. So this is from my perspective. This is from a Christian perspective. If you're not a Christian and you're watching this, you might be a little bit confused and it might seem kind of weird. But this is not me saying this is how you need to live. This is me saying this is how I'm going to live, or this is what I'm looking for as a Christian man who's following Jesus, who's not having sex right now, and who's really seeking a Proverbs 31 wife. Uh, so let's get to it. I'm going to start the clock. And I'm going to be pretty bold with my answers, and I might be kind of quick. So here we go. Start. Okay, number one. How do I know if he's just being nice versus if he really likes me? Okay, here's the thing. You don't know, and you shouldn't. It shouldn't matter if he hasn't asked you out yet. Stop thinking about him. Stop fantasizing and thinking, "What if?" It's wasted energy. So please stop. Number two. Do guys ever develop attraction over time? Or does it have to be there from the get-go? Yeah, this is a tough one. I would say more often than not, it doesn't develop over time, but it can sometimes. Um, Usually there needs to be something at first. It's not a binary yes or no or black or white. Like I hate it when people say, "Oh, does he like me or not like me?" or "Oh, is she into me or not into me?" It's a scale. Like she might be into you a little bit, maybe enough to maybe hang out with you one day, but not if it's too inconvenient for her the next day. So it's not a binary system. Number three, what do you consider top traits in? Sorry, my chair's kind of creaky. This is a crate and barrel chair, and I love it. I'm still getting used to it. Number three, I just wasted 5 seconds. Number three, what do you consider top traits in a spouse? Okay, for me, this is just me, but it's three things: conscientiousness, intelligence, and strength. Like how strong of a woman she is. Not physical strength, just like emotional and mental strength. That's what I want. That's not what other guys want. So take it for whatever that's worth. Number four, how can I let him know I'm interested in more than just friends without being too aggressive or embarrassing myself? Okay, this is the thing. You can't. In order to ask someone out, you must risk being rejected. And this is what guys have to deal with all the time, and it sucks. Now, I don't tell girls you should go ask him out. What I suggest is like let him be the pursuer because that's the foundation that you hopefully want to be laying for a future relationship with a man who's not going to be a boy, but a man who's going to step up to the plate when he has to. But if you want to let him know you're available, then drop things like, hey, maybe, I'd love to get coffee sometime if you're free. Don't say, I want to take you out to coffee. Are you free tomorrow night? Just kind of let him, like, it's like playing catch. If you throw a ball a little bit, like, he still needs to catch it and see it coming. You can't just, like, you know, help him out, but don't try to take over his role. He's the man in the relationship. You're the woman in the relationship. I know that's traditional, but that's the position I'm coming from, and that's what I want. That might not be what you want if you just stumbled upon this video. Okay, number five, what's your biggest deal breaker for you and a significant other? I'd say apart from like loving Jesus, for me it would be a healthy lifestyle. Number six, are you intimidated by a woman with a successful career? No, that's what I want. I want a woman with a successful career. I will respect that. I'll admire that. I want to help her with that. That really excites me. But that's not every guy. So, yeah. Number seven, what's your biggest motivator or fear in relationships and why? Well, my biggest motivator is to get married. That's why I want to date. I want to be a purposeful dater. I don't want to waste my time. I want to be a good steward of her time. A lot of guys will just date a girl for a few years. They'll be sleeping together. They'll have moved in, and then 5 years later, for some reason, they break up, and then the girls get to be 35 and 40 and 45, and these men aren't held accountable, and these men aren't incentivized to stay with them because our society isn't structured that way. Wow, that could be a whole book. Okay, number Number 8, do you feel intimidated by a strong woman? No. Part 2, what can she do to let you know she's approachable? Yeah, I think what I said earlier, like tidbits of like, hey, like I'd really love to get to know you more. Gosh, that sounds so dumb, doesn't it? Okay, maybe like if there's a group activity with like your girlfriends, or just people either at work or in the church, like inviting him over to be a part of that is not as intimidating or as forward as a date. I think that's still fine. Invite him for group hangouts, sure. That's a good one if you want to get to know him more without being too forceful. Okay, number 9. How important is sex to you? Well, for me, it's not an idol, so that's huge. For some people, it is. I am not a virgin. I've had sex before, and at this point, for me, it's not about getting married to have sex. For me, it's about I don't want to be lonely. I want a partner. I love being single. I'm selfish with my time. I'm still working on a lot of things, but I do want to get married and have a family. I think most guys want that if they're really honest with themselves. So you as a woman, just knowing that and knowing that guys are also looking for that, I think you should be intentional with who you spend your time with and who you date. There it is. Okay. Number 10, guys say they want to be with a solid girl, but it seems like all my guy friends just really want to be with models. What are your thoughts? I think they're addicted to porn. Okay. Number 11, what makes you feel masculine? What makes you feel like a man? When a woman lets me open the door for her and buy her meal, but I know that she can still buy it if she want to do because she has a good career, like that's, I feel respected. I feel more masculine. Okay, so number 12 is, do single men find women with children a turnoff, or does it matter? Well, sure, it matters on the guy. I mean, if you're a 21-year-old dude and you've never been married and, just starting out, then you're probably going to be looking for something different than maybe a 40-year-old man who hasn't been married or maybe is divorced or has kids of his own. So if it is a turnoff for a dude, then you don't want to be with him. Boom. Okay, number 13. Should I be concerned if he has mostly female friends or follows a lot of women on Instagram? Well, the Instagram thing I wouldn't think too much about. Also, don't stalk him on social media. Like, calm down. Like, that's not good for your heart. Should you be concerned if he has mostly female friends? Yeah, you should be concerned if he doesn't have male friends in his life that are keeping him accountable and loving him and encouraging him. Yeah, that's a problem, for sure. 14. Why does it seem that guys typically jump into another relationship after a breakup quicker than girls? Well, I think guys aren't as intensely, emotionally, as quickly as connected as women. That's not a good thing. That's not a bad thing. That's just probably the way it is. I was kind of dumped or broken up with a couple weeks ago, and it definitely stung. But it's not the end of the world. It wasn't like we were all in. We hadn't really dated that long, anyway, and she might come back later. She's dealing with some stuff right now. But it stings. Some guys will find another relationship to move on quicker, actually. I don't think women do that as much, but I know guys that are just like moving right into the next thing because they don't want to feel anything, which is not healthy. Okay. How do I support my boyfriend in supporting me in honoring our physical boundaries? I would say don't make it harder than it already is, and communicate with him and tell him how much you feel respected and loved when he guards your purity. So if you're like a hot makeout session on the couch with him, or you're like, in your bed and things are getting a little too hot and heavy, like, don't push it beyond what you shouldn't. Like, yes, he's the leader, but like, you don't have to make him, like lead. Like, try to be easy to be led. And then also, I would say, tell it like when things get hot and heavy, and then he kind of pushes the brakes a little bit. As hard as it is, like, stop and tell him, thank you for holding God's standards above your desires right now. Like, that is really attractive. What that will do to his heart, that's good. So don't forget that one. Number 16, thoughts on porn. Why do so many men turn to this? because it says and women, turn to this. It fills a void. It's easy. It doesn't take a lot of self-control. It's easy to get addicted to. And it's brutal. My thoughts on porn was the first part of it. It's horrible. It sets so many marriages up for failure before they even begin. And that's why in LA I'm part of a group that really encourages men to not be addicted to porn, or to break that addiction, because it's not healthy. Not every man looks at porn. Find a man who doesn't, or find a man who's striving to not look at porn anymore and has men in his life holding him accountable. That's hard to find, but it's not impossible. Okay. 17, do you value respect more than love? Yes, I do. Number 18, in the beginning, should the girl play hard to get? I wouldn't say for her to gamify it, but don't put yourself on a silver platter before he's had to do any work for it. Like, if he says, hey, are you free on Saturday? I'd love to get coffee, and he's never hung out with you before. I don't know why I'm using coffee as an example. It's like the quintessential Christian hybrid date pseudo hangout. It's actually probably not good because it's not super clear, but it is. Well, anyways, so if he says you want to get coffee on a Saturday, don't text back 10 seconds later, yes, with 100 exclamation marks, like, I can't wait. Instead, maybe say, after a few minutes, yeah, let me check my calendar, that should work, right? So you don't need to make everything a game. That's not loving and honorable, but there is an element of human psychology that doesn't want something that's super easy to get. And that's the way it is. So what are we on now? Guys, this is fun. I actually really like this. Number 19, is fear of commitment a natural tendency? I would say no. It's not. And then 2, how should the woman handle that in your life? Okay, ladies, if he won't commit or is afraid of committing, then you need to be done with him and move on, because he's not a complete person. Something might be broken, and you don't want to wait a few years hoping to change him and that he'll get fixed. You want to find someone who's already whole. Ooh, that's real. Okay, number 20. I'm gonna go quick now. Is it true that if he's interested, he'll pursue or do whatever it takes to make it happen, whether true or false? What? No, it's not true. He'll do whatever it takes to make it happen, even if he likes you. I'm sorry. That's a fairy tale. Number 21. Why date multiple women at once? Well, sometimes it's because a guy can and wants to, and he meets a few amazing women at once. I don't think a man should date multiple women at once in terms of like third dates and fourth dates. A couple months ago, I went on like 3 or 4 first dates in 1 month, and then I really had to like pray about it and figure out, okay, God, who do you want me to pursue? And I pursued the girl that dumped me 3 weeks ago, but that's besides the point. Okay, number 22. How does dating make you feel and why? Honestly, not that great. It's really this is not a sexy way to put it, but it's really the interviewing stage, like before you actually get to like be married to them. And it doesn't feel that great because you're both being kind of judged. Yes, you're supposed to like love each other and make it fun, but when you're not being intimate and not having sex and really saving that, and as a guy, when you're really trying to guard her and lead her, like it doesn't make me feel great. It makes me feel like there's a lot of responsibility there, and that's okay. There's responsibility, right? It'd be bad if you were just going around it aimlessly. 23. Do you usually go for younger women or your age? More younger women than not. Although when I was younger, I went for older women. 24. Do you know when a girl has a crush on you? Yeah, most guys typically know. I don't think guys are as stupid as women think we are. 25. What's the first thing you notice about a woman? I would say whether or not she is secure or really has a lot of like insecurities, or what's that word? I forget the word. But whether or not she's like strong in who she is, she's confident, or whether or not she's like kind of meek in her body posture, like I can notice that well before I notice like a smile or eyes. 26. What do you think about a girl initiating first? Honestly, I don't think that's the tone she wants to set for the rest of her marriage. So I would encourage a woman not to make the first move unless she wants to sign up for a passive dude. But I don't think that's not what I'd want for my sisters. I'll just say that. And I have 3. 27, how can we as women do a better job supporting and encouraging you? Oh, well, that's a lovely question. I would say tell men that you are, that you respect them and you really think the world of them. Like, even if it's not romantically, just say, hey, Tim, I noticed you work really hard and you volunteer. I think that's amazing. That would be great. He'll love that. Number 28, how can we show you we respect you? Honestly, just tell him, like, I respect you. 29, what are some dating tips? I would say come up with a couple questions for a first date. So if there's a lull, you can help him out and ask him an open-ended question. And then the last one, I think we have 30 seconds left or so on my clock. What's the ideal age to get married? Honestly, if you're a complete person and you're fully redeemed in the Lord and you're running after Jesus, then I would say as early or as young as you can. There's no need to wait unless God's really called you for a season of singleness. But if you're ready and you're whole, just get married. All right. Again, that's just my opinions. Let me write down your comments. Also, I'm not on my YouTube all the time. Sometimes I'm on Instagram more, so feel free to either leave comments on that or DM me questions and I'll try to answer them. And hope you guys enjoyed this. Bye.